Hi there, I'm Don Mooers, and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. In November, a delegation from Montgomery County will journey to India on a mission that includes cultural exchanges as well as a customized business agenda. Sally Sternbach, the Deputy Director of the Montgomery County Department of Economic Development, is here to share all about this. There will be a forum soon featuring the Board of Education candidates who are all on the ballot this November. Elaine Apter from the League of Women Voters League is sponsoring this debate. She's here with all the details herself. Montgomery County Coalition of the Homeless. The Homeless has recognized that homelessness is a problem, not just medical care for the homeless, but also the physical health and their mental health. Susie Sinclair-Smith, the Executive Director of the Coalition, will explain all of this. There is increased attention to the environmental effects that buildings have, and both from their maintenance as well as the way that they're built. Ilaya Hopkins from the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce has the story of a new program in the county that will deal with these challenges. Thank you. Sally Sternbach, namaste.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
To the spirit within you, Sally, you're off to India. This is exciting.
Well, we think it is. We think it is. Huge opportunity there. Great big exchange partner of the United States. Lots of companies in Montgomery County already do business in India. We think it could be largely expanded, and so we're taking as many companies as would like to come, setting up very specialized agendas for each one of them, and expecting to see great things in return.
You know, the special relationship between India and Montgomery County. Montgomery County has been a place where so many people of Indian descent are here. Our schools are filled with wonderful Indian students. Our Montgomery College, University of Maryland, but Indian residents of Montgomery County have been entrepreneurs, they've been leaders in the IT industry, have been leaders throughout.
Life sciences, the whole thing.
The whole thing. So is this a particular specialness? I don't know if that's a right word for Montgomery
So we're
County.
visiting 4 different cities, and each one of them has special areas of focus. One of them is infrastructure, another one is IT, a third one is life sciences. And we have companies going with us that are development companies looking for Indian companies that might want to actually take up residence here. We have contract research organizations going with us, etc. So
well, before we go on,
have them contact us.
I know there are a lot of questions. There's a website that people can look at,
There
not only for
is.
this, but also all the great things that the...
It's choosemontgomerymd.com. Again, choosemontgomerymd.com.
Very simple.
It is.
Great message.
Thank you.
Well, Montgomery County has such a great story to tell, and when the Department of Economic Development takes the show on the road, it really benefits the businesses that are here. And you know, we're all operating in a global marketplace, so it's really to be commended that our county executive and leaders from the department and others from the community are taking the time and effort to go, and we look forward to partnering on lots of opportunities that will come from this.
Could you describe the kind of follow-up that happens after the visit takes place in terms
Sure.
of engaging them?
Sure. So we work with
Montgomery County?
the companies have a specific agenda. We set up meetings for them. We then do follow-up with them if there is an outreach that's needed. Very often official to official, government official is very helpful in the way India does its business. So we'll use that mechanism if that's appropriate. Sometimes financial incentives are appropriate to help a company make the transition from India to opening a U.S. subsidiary. So there are all kinds of ways that we get engaged on the backside of this. And we always follow the lead of the company. So it's their relationship, we simply augment it.
You mentioned infrastructure, and I know that's a word that comes up very frequently that we really don't pay much attention to, but we should be. What line of infrastructure? What are you looking at?
So in India, there is a tremendous building boom going on. So it is actually putting in roads, designing buildings, putting in water systems. So that's the kind of communication systems. We have a company here in Montgomery County that does major architectural and design work in the city of Raipur, which is one of the cities that we're visiting, just to give you an example.
And that can be back and forth too, because we really,
Of course.
Montgomery County needs to
Sure.
do something in there.
Wait, Sally, Choose Montgomery, MD,
Yeah.
lays out the argument, but we've got so many other jurisdictions from throughout the United States going to India. European countries and localities going to India, all competing for the Indian dollar and Indian products and Indian consumers. What's so special about Montgomery County?
Well, you said it already, which is we have a very vibrant Indian population here, so there is a home for people to connect to when they get here, which means a lot. There's the faith infrastructure, the faith community, as well as the cultural community. There is an acknowledgement on the part of the local government that our Indian population is important. To wit, our county executive is traveling to India, and part of that is to open up a sister city relationship with Hyderabad. So there's all of that, plus all of the attractions of Montgomery County anyway, which has to do with our highly educated workforce, our incredible assets, federal assets that are here that are a major source of attraction for IT life sciences companies.
It's a great place to plug into the global marketplace too, because think of all the embassies and commercial attaches, U.S. Institutions that are helpful to U.S. businesses trying to go abroad, like the XM
And easy
Bank.
connectivity, 3 airports. I mean,
Yeah.
it keeps going.
We have about
I would
10 seconds. 10 seconds left. That's it.
I would hope that a trip like this will result in increased job opportunities for Montgomery County residents. I know, and bringing in the issue of affordable housing, people need jobs that can afford to.
Last word.
Okay,
Take
last
their
word is,
housing.
I'll give you an example. There is a company here,
Quick.
very quick, that is probably going to add close to 400 jobs next year. It's an India-based headquartered company. We're visiting them to reinforce that commitment.
Perfect. And at some time in the future, if they should go through the immigration process, become naturalized U.S. citizens, they're going to want to be engaged with legal women voters.
Yes.
They're going to want to learn about our Board of Education candidates.
No question about
So
it.
let's make it ready for all these folks who are coming here, the 400 who are going to be coming
Okay.
into Montgomery County.
Well, the League of Women Voters on September 29th, Monday night, from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Carver Center in Rockville.
Okay.
We'll be hosting a forum for the Board of Education candidates. It will also, MCM, Montgomery County Media,
Right.
will also stream it and rebroadcast it. So you don't worry about missing the actual program itself. But we really have to stop and think how important the school board
Yeah,
candidates
let's talk about that
are.
because when we look at the school system, half full, half empty, with the glass being half full. We've got tremendous. We've got these great teachers going on, but then we see the troubling results in the math scores and kids being left behind and this influx of new kids all of the time, immigrants and others who come to here a little bit behind. And do we have the resources to help bring them up? And what's going on?
Right, Montgomery County is definitely changing, and it shows up in our school system. But we have a fantastic school system, and the key is to keep it up. And there are a lot of things to talk about and to discuss.
Sally,
at
before
the
you ask a
Common
question,
Core.
comment, phone number here that you're sharing with us if people want to learn more?
It's
It's coming up on the screen right now.
good. That's good. because-
Go ahead, Sally.
I simply wanted to
980.
add that it's not, it is also probably one of the top selling arguments that we use for businesses coming to Montgomery County is our unbelievable, not only K-12, but also the additional resources that Hopkins and universities at Shady Grove and Montgomery College bring to bear.
No question.
So it
that
is- it is a
selling,
huge selling point.
selling point for
We're seeing
businesses.
an increase in homelessness amongst unaccompanied youth in between the ages of 18 and 24. And recently met with members of the school board, and we're very heartened to hear of some very deep community engagement programs that the school system is engaging in to reach out to those students who are most in need. And I think that these positions on the school board are really critical leadership
Right,
positions
and,
to help
and the
address
budget
problems
that they
like
control is tremendous, and because of Montgomery County's setup, it's Montgomery County, the money comes basically from Montgomery County, and it's 52% of Montgomery County's budget. So we really have to look and see how the school board is spending this money, because in some ways it also, you know, you've got your police, you've got your fire, and you've got all the other Montgomery County services.
Sure.
So because our unique funding situation, it's very, very important that you know what the school board members.
And there are a lot of candidates this time around for a number of the positions on the school board. And what's kind of interesting about the Board of Education is that wherever we live in Montgomery County, we vote for all of them.
Yes.
They represent different districts, but we vote for all of them.
That's
it's
correct.
a lot to understand and know what the differences are between the candidates. So it's terrific that you're hosting this forum.
What are you hoping to
and
hear? What are
we
you hoping
have-
to hear from? candidates?
We're hoping to hear, and one of the economic things would be is what about that student that is not college bound? I mean, there are
Right.
so many other professions and things that don't need that quote college
I think I
education.
heard 22% of our
Right.
students don't go on to
Correct.
additional
And
education.
what are
so-
we doing for those
Yep.
students?
And I think technology, types of workforce programs are really
Right,
helpful.
are very, very,
I want
and
to see plumbers.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and
wanna
there
see
is some
mechanics. I wanna see
innovative,
some great things
innovative
going on.
things going on around this with the earned grants, et cetera, but it needs Board of Education members
it-
who understand
Okay.
it, get it, and go for
No
it.
So that's
question.
one. Keep
Yeah.
going. What's the second thing you want to hear from?
Okay, Common Core has been
Right.
come up, and it's very, very important, really, that the students keep up at a certain level, and we know, but it's a problem that some people have associated with, you know, from the top down.
45 seconds left.
Okay, so basically, the Board of Education candidates are fairly down low on the ballot. Make sure you get to them. Make
Right.
sure you talk to people about the issues. Find out what the candidates are talking about, what their important ideas are. Email them. The voter's guide, you can get email, call them, find out what, and talk to your neighbors. You know, politics is not a dirty word. You really need to talk to
It's a
people.
local sport.
It's very, very important to say, what do you think about this, or is this important?
Good
so,
for you.
and get out and vote. That's the main thing.
I love the
Just
passion.
get
Yeah.
out.
Go for it.
Come on, you've got to do it.
That's our last word in the first half. We'll be right back after these messages. Hi there, and we're back.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
So tell us about the coalition's work and
Sure.
are really the particular concern that you're showing with the mental health issues.
Definitely, and I was thinking before I came on board and realized that everybody who watches this show has probably known someone who's experienced a mental health illness, and we all rally around our family and friends in cases like that to make sure they have access to behavioral health services. Homelessness and mental health are intricately related. Mental illness can cause homelessness. Also, mental illness can sustain or maintain someone's homelessness. I always love it when I've got a great success story to talk about one of our clients.
Are you going to tell us a success story?
I'm going to tell you
This is
right
great.
now.
Okay.
I'm thrilled. It's an individual who lived with his family, a young man in Silver Spring in his early 20s, and he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. He lived with his mother and sibling, was then placed into a residential program. And then when he came out, he moved back home, but his family couldn't support him and help him, and he ended up falling into homelessness. He came to our men's emergency shelter, and we were able to connect him with basic services, but then we moved him into our Safe Havens program that's specifically geared for people who experience severe mental illness.
Sure.
We connected him with psychiatric care, with
Okay.
medication, helped him with his daily living skills. He enrolled in Montgomery College. He's studying to be a radiology therapist. He's going to the gym, lost 15 pounds. He knocked on my door the other day and said, I'm moving into permanent housing.
Now we've got a website. What's your website?
MCCH.net.
Okay. Now, what you're talking about is really a community effort.
Yes.
And a coalition effort, and that's always been my thought about the mental health, addressing mental health issues in Montgomery County. It takes It really takes the village.
It
doesn't
does take a village, and about 20% of the population experiencing homelessness have been diagnosed with a severe mental illness. We, MCCH provides permanent housing solutions with case management for formerly homeless people. We end their homelessness, but our case managers connect our clients with the mental health services in the community. We work with groups like the Mental Health Association,
Sure.
Cornerstone, Family Services, and make sure that they're connected with the services that they need.
You mentioned the school board and what they're doing, because we kind of forget a lot of times that children are homeless also, or a single parent with children. What's going on with that as far as children?
That's a very good point. And what the NAMI, the National Association for Mental Illness, recognizes that a lot of once teens age into the early 20s, there's an onset of paranoid schizophrenia, and it's such a challenging situation to deal with for family households. And people don't want to be homeless and don't become homeless easily. They wear out their family, they wear out their friends, they wear out their couches, and so there's a prevalence of young adults who are homeless because of that.
And the traditional shelter doesn't always work for someone who has challenges with mental illness.
Right.
You know, there really is a special effort that needs to be taken because you would
No,
speak more
exactly,
to
you should be on our board of directors. No, so we just partnered with Cornerstone, and we now for the first time have on-site psychiatric services at our shelter. And we also have primary care services, vocational services, case management. We moved 160 men out last year into permanent and transitional housing.
Wonderful.
So we're really geared towards moving people out as quickly as possible and making sure they get
The
access
problem
to those
growing?
services.
Are we holding even?
We had an 11% decrease in homelessness last year in Montgomery County. We have 891 individuals. There's a point in time, an annual count. We are excited about that, and we want to ride that wave of accomplishment. I think that it's key, though. We do have very physically frail individuals now. We've moved people who have less challenges into permanent housing, and now we have the individuals who are the most challenged. A side point, it's a data point, but that people who have mental illness, that we have a fire rescue squad come and visit our shelter all the time in the winter because of the nature of the physical frailties, and it costs up to $45,000 a year to help people who cycle through these emergency care systems. If you move somebody into permanent housing with supportive services, it costs about $25,000. So it's
Is there
a
a
cost
way for the
saving.
community to get involved? I mean, donations is clearly
Yes,
one. How else?
donations. Also, we're part of a campaign in the county to end homelessness for the most medically vulnerable. We hope to be a member. The next phase of it is to end veterans homelessness. We have 34 veterans, and we think that we can do that. So if people want to access our website, we can gear people in the right direction, because it's part of it's getting the word out that it can be done.
That's where we have to end.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
Thank you very much. Very enlightening.
All right. Thanks.
Ilaya, the green building movement comes to the chamber and comes to our county.
Well, you know, the Montgomery County Chamber is a green certified business through the county's Department of Environmental Protection. It's something that is important to us, and we encourage our members to think about ways that they can reduce their footprint on the environment. And as a nonprofit member-based organization, we do advocacy and programs and events that support our member success. And we're seeing a nice confluence of those coming together in some legislation that was passed by the County Council earlier this year regarding energy efficiency of buildings.
Okay.
It's called benchmarking, where you can really monitor the energy usage of your employees and systems that you have in place. We were really pleased to see that the county is a leader in this, and they are leading the way by benchmarking their own buildings and facilities first before it is rolled out to commercial properties around the county.
What is it? Why is the chamber and why are chamber members interested in this? Is it purely about saving costs or saving money, lowering costs of operating buildings, or is it something more?
Well, first of all, it's the right thing to do. We all understand that we live in this environment. You know, many of us recycle at home, so when we're in the office, we want to be able to have those same opportunities. Our chamber works a lot with government contractors and the federal government. This was a direction the federal government was taking, and to prepare our members to be successful in bidding for those contracts, it was a program that we, again, partnered with DEP and Montgomery College to get underway.
Before we open this up for questions and comments, there's a website I think people can
Indeed,
reference.
it is MCCCHNET.com. It talks about a forum coming up in November, a Green Business Forum on benchmarking. You can also access the Green Business Certification Program. And as you're driving around or biking around, you might see ride-on buses with big banners about the many businesses in Montgomery County that have gone through the certification process.
Okay.
Is there financial help from either the federal, state, or local for?
Well, in fact,
creating?
the Department of Economic Development has done a lot to encourage businesses to make those steps.
So for example, one of the programs we have is an investor tax credit for people who invest in companies that are developing green products or green services. So yeah, and there's an incubator called Bethesda Green that takes startup companies that are in that sector and helps them to accelerate their growth.
And this is a great example of policy matching up with the practices. You want to see, and that's where we as a nonprofit partner like to come in and help our members understand how they can make the most of it as well.
Nonprofit Montgomery, which is a membership group of nonprofits in Montgomery County, and we really are part of the business sector. And
of course.
Exactly. And we had an energy alliance where we all joined together, and it was very effective in sort of helping even the smaller nonprofits be able to join and be able to have efficient uses of energy and
But
at
also
less
what's
cost.
great and what people should hear is that the private sector, as evidenced by the Chamber's engagement, finds this important. And the fact that the Chamber has taken a leadership in this actually puts another stamp of approval on it. So kudos.
Yes,
Yes.
I agree.
Kudos to the chamber.
It's all about partnership. No, it's all about partnership.
Give her a raise, Ilaya Hopkins, making things happen at the chamber.
It's about the partnership and the role that the business community plays in the broader community. When businesses are successful, it helps programs with the homeless, it helps our education system, it attracts more businesses to Montgomery County.
Let's shift it real quick away from the environment, but that's part of Crystal. I mean, if you had the powers, as chamber and just you as a concerned citizen, very engaged community member, what kind of changes would you see in the business community, whether in Annapolis coming up or the Rockville? What are our biggest challenges right now?
Well, actually it is a very timely question. In the last General Assembly, the leadership convened a private sector commission on business climate and economic development. There is a real awareness that, again, back to our first topic, we are competing in a global marketplace. And there are so many great things.
It's just not Fairfax? I mean, it's beyond Fairfax?
No,
No, it is.
it's beyond Fairfax. There are so many great things about Montgomery County, things that even Fairfax might not have, are a tremendous talent, a great K-12 system, a beautiful environment. These are unique strategic assets, and we are delighted to see discussions taking place at the state level and the county level of how we can leverage these to build on the great successes we've had of entrepreneurialism and bioscience and cybersecurity, to make sure that Montgomery County stays at the leading edge. The White Oak Gateway Science City Master Plan was just approved. This is where FDA has its world headquarters. Pharmaceuticals, food, all sorts of things are going to come through there. The business possibilities are, the crystal ball
Endless.
will tell.
Thank you very much, Ilaya. I want to thank all of you
Thank
for
you.
joining me, and thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Weekend Review. I'm Don Mooers, inviting you to join us next week at this very same time.